human beings have natural and spontaneous desire and deep longing within themselves for fullness and permanence. But unfortunately, nothing and nobody can fulfill that desire for fullness except God, because only God is full, permanent and eternal. My dear friends, allow me to share just a thought based on the first reading today. That reading was from the epistle of letter of St. Paul to the Romans. So these days we read the letter of Romans. You know, St. Paul's letters, very beautiful letters and a lot of theology. It's really amazing to see a person who was just totally against Jesus, Christianity, who was killing and persecuting them, and now had a total U-turn, diversion, U-turn, conversion, and completely dedicated himself for the apostle of Gentiles, as we know. And these letters have a lot of theology, deep insights. And for example, the letter to Romans that we are reading these days. In the New Testament, if you see, the letters are arranged in the matters of length, the longest letters and then the short ones, small ones, etc. But actually, if you see by date, year-wise, the Thessalonians, the letters were the first ones to be written in the year 52, even before the Gospel of Mark, you see. And the Thessalonians, then we have the Corinthians, then we have Galatians and Romans together. And these Romans also having a lot of deep insights and theology. And St. Paul is really a great scholar, as we know, learned from Gamaliel. And there he tries to explain how every person needs to God's grace. And this God's grace is available or can be obtained only through faith. And this grace will liberate us from death and sin. So deep theological insights. And he was writing to the Romans who were Jews by birth, and there was a conflict between the newly converted from Jewish to Christianity and then those who were born Christians, because slowly as Christianity was growing and the years go by, some children born to the Christians. So this is a big tough situation, and here to clarify. Today one beautiful idea, he says, the foolish hearts thinking that they are wise, they become foolish. Now you may be wondering, what's the difference between being foolish before thinking and being foolish afterwards, right? Foolish hearts thinking they are wise, they become foolish. They are already foolish, no? So what's a big thing about becoming foolish by thinking they are wise? In my opinion, in the first case, at least the fools, perhaps they know that they are fools. They don't know much, they are aware of it. But when they think that they are fools, they don't know that they are fools. That is still dangerous, you see. Maybe foolish people thinking that they are wise, they become more foolish or dangerously foolish or inhumanly foolish. You can put whatever adjective or adjective before the foolishness. So both are foolishness, but when you think that you are wise, when you are not really wise, you become dangerously fool. That is why the real person who is mentally challenged, right? And we know we need to be careful with him or her. But a person who does not know that he is mentally challenged or she is mentally challenged, we should be more careful, right? Because he did not even know what he would be saying, doing, and so on. So the foolishness is one thing, and when you are foolish and think you are, by mistake you are wise, you become doubly foolish or dangerously foolish. Perhaps today, my dear friends, that's what the world is, I think, unfortunately. One simple, painful example is the war that is taking place in Israel and Palestine. You see, people are killed on both the sides. The blood is the same color for everyone. Doesn't matter whether you belong to this side or Israel side or Palestine side or Hamas, all are people. People have their own feelings, their own pain and agony. When a bullet wounds or hurts someone, it's a pain for anybody. Just because I am from this camp, do you think that I am not having pain? Or just because I am from the other camp, other side, when they lose their beloved one, are they not affected? and you see the cruel or inhuman pictures of being kidnapped, and the child is snatched away from the parents and vice versa, and the children just sitting and crying near the dead bodies of the parents without even knowing that they are dead. How to explain? If not, it's a foolishness in the double way, right? I don't know who is responsible for that. I don't know how to handle this. But in my opinion, any human problem can be solved, humanly speaking, provided there is an openness and goodwill to talk to each other, right? And that is why today the humanity has become doubly foolish, because they think they are wise. That's a problem. And again, St. Paul in the letter to Corinthians, he says, if there is at all some foolishness in God, that foolishness will be wiser than human wisdom. Perhaps today we wage wars, we do all kinds of inhuman atrocities, we think that is the right thing, justice, etc. We think it is the wise thing to do. But we need to surrender to God's wisdom, and God's wisdom will tell us which is really wise, which is really meaningful. So our wisdom is not just nothing compared to God's foolishness, if at all there is something foolishness in God. So we need to surrender to God's wisdom, my dear friends. And today God is the only source, or only the parameter, or only the consolation that we can have. As I said in the beginning, everybody wants to have some sort of permanence and some sort of complete fullness in life. Perhaps these people are fighting because they want, if we want get the free land or whatever may be, our life will be complete. And they may not be alive to experience that completeness. So this completeness, all that sense of completeness coming from other than God, from nobody or nothing, can give us the real sense of completeness. That's why the Brihadaranyaka Upanishads beautifully says, God is fullness. And if you take fullness from God, God remains fullness. We add fullness to God, God remains fullness. Have you heard about that? The other day we said, the mathematical calculation, infinite. If you divide infinite by infinite, infinite becomes infinite, right? Because that's also infinite, numerator also infinite, denominator also infinite, and the result also will be infinite, it's not one. So the point is infinite, or the complete, the fullness only available in God. And there is a natural longing in human beings towards that fullness, because all our experiences don't fulfill that experience. And there's a natural desire for fullness, permanence, long-lasting thing. That's why when you look for a job, you look for a permanent job, not a temporary job. Even if the temporary job gives more salary, I don't mind losing it in order to get permanent job, even if it is less salary. Why? There's a permanence desire is fulfilled. As simple as that, when you go to supermarket to buy something, you look at the expiry date, right? And in fact, if we are worried about the expiry date, the implication is we are actually worried about our own expiry date. That is why we look at the expiry date of the products. There are 2 milk packets are there. One packet says after 1 week it will expire. Another packet says it will expire after 2 weeks. Which one you will buy? Naturally 2 weeks. Though you know the milk packet you will finish within 2 days, you want the milk packet to last longer. Why? The sense of fullness is completed there, fulfilled there. Supposing you are putting up a building, one builder says if I put up a building it will last for 25 years. Another builder says it will last for 50 years. Whom you will choose? If you are a wise man, naturally 50 years. Now within 5 years you may die and go back to God, but I want the building to last longer. Why? Again, the sense of fullness is completed in that extra time you see. Therefore, my dear friends, today with all the advanced technologies, with all the growth in every aspect of our life, in communication, travel, and we know more about what is above the sun and more about what is under the sun. But in spite of all that, do we have the real wisdom? That's a big question mark. So the words of St. Paul becomes very true. The foolish people, unless they realize they are not complete, they need to depend on someone or something who is God, who is complete, full. They will not have all this real fulfillment in their lives, and all that they do will be always incomplete, leading to destruction, and still worse, it will be self-destruction. It is like a man sitting on the branch of a tree and cutting that tree itself, that branch itself. When the branch falling, he also will fall, he also will be hurt, may be killed also, but still we do not know we are cutting the tree branch on which we are sitting today. That is what happened, my dear friends. So the individual lives, the lives in the families, life in smaller communities, in the country, and whole of humanity today, what we need is wisdom. Today the world is running after knowledge and information. But what are we going to do with the knowledge and information? We need to have wisdom. Without this wisdom, the knowledge and information is useless, even dangerous, right? For example, the nuclear power. Science gives us the nuclear power in our hands, but science cannot tell us how to use that nuclear power. Precisely that's what is happening in today's war and technology, weapons, etc., mass destruction, and there's something called phosphorus bomb, and I think it's a silver bomb, that's a particular name. When one bomb is dropped, it breaks into several pieces, and wherever it goes there, phosphorus, I think, the poisonous gas and the smoke it creates breathing trouble, and it can cause fire and etc. So we have plenty of knowledge, but how to use that knowledge, only God can tell us. And today we pray sincerely for every individual and for the whole world that we may use all our knowledge, all our information in the useful manner, so that we may get the real fullness by turning to God. And without turning to God, our life will be always incomplete in every sense of the word. Let us think about it.